Hi, my name is Tracy Kilgore. Welcome to our Neuro Neutral podcast. This is my co-host, Julie Olson.
Yo, yo.
Every episode, we're going to dive deep into a different area of neurodivergence and visit what we call the neuro neutral space. This is a space in which we can create, we can change all the belief systems that we took on as we grew up, and we can turn them into whatever we want. If you don't understand that concept, that's why you need to be on the podcast and
Hands
watch
down. Guys, this is for you. Stay tuned.
Are we ready? Hi, I'm Tracy Kilgore. Welcome to our Neuro Neutral podcast. I am here with my co-host, Julie Olson.
Yo.
And we have a very special guest today, Zack Metcalf of Sunset Software Systems. And Zack, we would like you to just kind of...
But wait. This is our first first podcast ever done on virtually.
Yeah,
Virtually.
So bear with us as we work out all those kinks. But Zack is in Michigan currently.
Literally.
And we are in Utah.
Literally.
Literally, yes.
Literally.
So, Zack, would you mind sharing just a little bit about yourself?
Tracy, we know Zack. Tracy was the one that invited Zack as our guest speaker, which we're super excited to have him. I personally know Zack through business networking events that we used to go and attend to. So I'm intrigued and super excited to hear from Zack again. I just wanted to put that in because that's how we both know Zack.
Well, from the beginning of meeting him to now,
geez.
He's blown up like career-wise. His platform is just going crazy, and it's wonderful. Just shows what you can do if you channel your ADHD and just like.
I was like,
zone
yeah,
in.
and he has ADHD.
And he has ADHD
Because that's our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Zack, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So I mean, I went to like Ferris State University, and I got a couple degrees in engineering. That's kind of like started off with, working and stuff like that. So I lost my job through COVID, and then decided to move to Arizona, get down there, and get a job pretty easily because I have 2 degrees in engineering and stuff. So got a job there. Then I lost my job because of COVID again, because the at-home COVID test, Abbott, they made that patent, and then they lost that contract, so then they let go 30% of the company. I decided, because I was already doing this a little bit on the side, trying to make a CRM and stuff. So then I started, S3 is kind of what I call S3 CRM. So, and I started doing this, and I love this. So I love being able to help people, automate their systems and just make things quicker and easier. And I've built a lot of cool things inside of it. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's like the story of an ADHD person, okay? You got shot down, and you got to start again.
Yeah.
And then guess what? You got shot down again, and you started again. I feel, and we keep saying that. At least me personally, I feel like we are really good at starting over. Like we're like the best. Like
you have no choice in this world we live in. So
Right.
you don't. I mean.
And you've evolved too. Like you've learned and you progress, and like that's cool. This is me the first time hearing your business, because you were doing something different prior before. Now you're doing this. I mean, I know Zack.
Right.
Zack showed me. I remember he showed me the app that he created, and I'm like, dude, Zack, you just created this? He's like, yeah, I was just bored. I just wanted to make things more organized. And I'm like, what? Okay. Oh my gosh, my brain.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'm telling you, Tracy and I have an idea, and we're going to use you to help us out with that. Like, we literally have, like, we're sitting on gold here. We just, again, our ADHD brain's like, we got to do everything.
Yeah. So
it's going to happen.
Be a moment, but yes.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Let's go back as far back. This is a question I like to ask everybody, really. When did you notice there was something a little bit different about you and you experiencing the world, kind of comparing yourself most likely, because that's what we do as people. You notice the people around you and you're like, wow, I'm not like them.
I know. When was that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was probably really early, like, I don't know, 8 or 9, 10. So I got diagnosed at like 12, 13 in there. But yeah, I mean, I was just in school. I was always fidgety. I was always like getting bored. I don't sit in, like, I don't know if I'm learning anything while I'm sitting there. It's just, yeah, I get really bored and distracted or stuff like that. And always be, being active or doing something. Yeah, I definitely don't learn like most people. So I kind of knew that right away. Definitely not just read a book. I have to read it a few times.
Same.
But like I love like watching videos. Like if I can watch a video, I can learn it.
Visual learner.
To like it's ingrained in my brain. So yeah, YouTube has been amazing for that.
Yes, I actually agree. I mean, YouTube
Seriously,
has
though.
got the answer to just about everything.
That's how I learned how to do my videography and photography, was through YouTube.
Oh,
Seriously.
yeah, I probably learned more off YouTube than I did in college.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a thing, really. The piece of paper doesn't come with it, but you can learn so much if you just go online and look for the right.
I'm YouTube certified, so the university.
It's not a bad idea, actually.
Honestly, YouTube does their own curriculum. Dude, maybe we're giving them an idea and now they're going to be another cash cow. Okay, no, don't take it, YouTube. I'm just kidding.
No, take it, because I'll get my YouTube certification.
Oh, there you go. Love it. Ooh.
Yeah. Traditional school is, it's really interesting to me because there are some people, like, for instance, Zach, you and Julie actually are good with the math concepts. And then there's some ADHDers where that's in last place. It's the one thing we just keep avoiding and put aside. So I find it very interesting about how different even ADHD from one person to the next is. So then, of course, how you approach, magnifying the good parts and working with the parts that are difficult and creating tools around those so that you can be more efficient, more functional, and you don't spend so much time being frustrated.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
for instance, myself, and Zach knows this better than most, my ability with the computers and technology, it's horrible.
You do great though.
I can do some things, but it takes me a long time to learn it.
Yeah, but you still learn though. You still learn. Like you push yourself through it to still learn. I'm not putting myself down. I'm just saying, like, my brain, other areas, I'm a badass and I do things very well. And I'm very good with people, connecting with people. That is probably my biggest strength because I just love people. Same.
Yeah.
No, the reason why I say that is because Zach, have you ever had it where you try so hard and do something and you just like want to throw your hands up in the air and you just don't even do it?
Oh yeah. No, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You do it. You still do it.
But thank you, Julie. But so give us an instance that you can recall just right now off the cuff. Something that you went, oh my God, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, it just happened to me the other day. But I walk away and then come back to it. So like, when I was building, I was trying to integrate. I can't remember what it was. I think it was my Printify, my Shopify, or something like that. And it was just ticking me off. It took me like all day. I was doing it, and that was I was doing it, and then my buddy was like, "Hey, you've been behind the computer all day. Like, let's go, went and had a beer or something." And they came back, and while we were sitting there, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I know what it is."
That's great. That's important. Taking breaks is important when you get to that point of frustration.
But it's so true. You need to take breaks.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes our hyper focus of wanting to complete it, it's like you just keep running into a wall.
Yeah, you're like chasing your tail like a dog.
And it's energy draining.
Yes.
Energy draining. I feel like if you can decipher when you can take a step out, like you're that much more in tune with yourself. It's very hard though. It's hard. I still find it very hard for myself.
Well, sometimes you don't notice because you are hyper focused.
Yes.
I really need to when I'm trying to figure out a problem or something, I'm until I figure it out, I don't stop really. Definitely if I could figure out how to walk away, do something else.
So I have a suggestion for you. You need to start noticing when you're spending too much time.
Right.
And then eventually
something,
you can
yeah.
make a transition and be like, okay, time to break.
What do we call that? What do we call it? We were talking about that yesterday. I call it patterns.
Oh. Yes.
What do you call it?
Well, we're going to all call it that because that's what it is. It is a pattern.
Yeah, but you said the equation. Sometimes you got to change it.
Yes. So I believe that everything in life is a math equation. So 6 plus 6 is always what?
They equal the same.
So if you keep doing the same flipping thing over and over again, you're going to get the same thing. So you need to change something in that equation
Right.
so that you can have a different result.
Yep.
So, but self-awareness is actually what
Agreed.
you need to do in that instance, and just start noticing that you're doing it. And
Yeah.
then you can go, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. Stop, walk away. And you literally have to be that intentional with it. Otherwise you'll be stuck in it and just keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, intentional and kind of force yourself. I don't know if you ever have gone through that where you kind of have to like force yourself to break away.
You're going to now. And I'm going to check on you too, make sure this happens.
Tracy's great. I'm not even kidding. Tracy gives me so many golden nuggets. I'm like, okay, let's just try it out. And it really, it really does.
Yep. Yeah, she's helped me a lot with it too.
Oh, that's great.
Definitely.
Love it.
Do you have any, I'm curious, do you have any like barriers that you created for yourself because you have ADHD that you notice you create for yourself that others don't have? Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I definitely had a bit like going live on Facebook or like doing stuff like this, and then like it took me a while. So like, there's a day, did my first live. I spent like 4 or 5 hours before I went live. Like everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be like blah blah blah. And then it was horrible. Like when we went live, not great. Well, I don't think so. But I did it, and then I like addicted to it, and I'm like, all right, I need to do more. And
Yay! I love it.
so, and then, but I mean, I feel like I have a little different ADHD, obviously, but I have like OCD too. So like my inbox, like for like the email stuff that you were saying, like I can't have one email in my inbox. I have
I love that,
categories.
actually.
Like everybody has their own folder. And it's labeled, and it's like, I have to have it like that.
Yeah, but he's a softwares guy, so it makes sense.
I feel like, okay, so the
Yes.
fact that you have OCD and you're applying it into your business makes it what? Amazing and super
phenomenal.
functional, and you can call it a superpower, you can call it whatever you want, but
you're an expert.
it makes you much more efficient.
Correct.
And in daily life, I'm sure it's annoying, but in business, it's amazing.
How is that so? It makes me think of like times where people will say, Julie, how do you have this job? And I'm like, when I'm in the job, like I'm there.
Like you get tunnel vision, right?
I'm there. But when I break away and I'm now fully at my most vulnerable self, then I'm like, no. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're really good. I already could tell that before. You just had to hone it into something that you really want for yourself. And now, like,
Right.
for Zack to have 0 emails, I'm like, oh my gosh, no. That to me, I'm like, that's too much energy to look and delete and do everything. Like, I have hundreds.
I get notifications on my phone. Like, I can't like stand it. It's like, but like other areas, like okay, my room would be messy or something, not as organized. But anything on computers, like I have to have folders.
See, that's what I'm saying. He does it in his work.
Right, which
It's amazing. It's beautiful.
My other podcast host for real estate, he has that capability. And when he is teaching people about lending, he has so much organization. He'll give you 4 scenarios of ways to take a loan, and you can be like, your first time in, he's got it all
Oh, that's
set up.
great.
It
See,
is
that's what I'm
great.
saying.
But he does that because he has that trait. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that on here.
That's
but
okay. You didn't say his name.
No.
I didn't.
No.
No.
Or their name.
But anyway, he's awesome. So, let's tap into some juicy stuff with you. So give me noticeably. You said 10 years old.
Yeah.
Give me something that was happening where you were like, oh my gosh, this is really frustrating to me, and I don't like it. And then, what might you have done, and when did you discover what to do? Like, It could be you discovered this is a problem at 10 and didn't figure it out till you're 50, like me. So
Right.
Mine was in my late 20s. So I find it amazing that you were able to not only identify at a young age, but then your family was able to help you.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, they thought I had like a learning disability, and so I got in like special classes type thing, and then like when I got to high school, like I like didn't care as much, so I had like barely a 2.0, but then when I got to college, I had 3.2 and cared and wanted to do it. So, but yeah, to your question, what was it again? Like
I was waiting for that. This is typical. We all do this.
You know how many times we
what did you say?
Well, I'm confused. Wait, what do we just went through 5,000 topics? Zack.
So basically, in the transition point where you made it so you were able to deal with that situation better, like what was it? What was it that shifted for you? Because that's really what has to happen in order for you to make it become something different, become something hopefully better. But different, you have to change some part of what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, when I got put on it, I still, like, I didn't want people to know. I thought it was a bad, so when I was
Right.
on it,
Same.
bad thing to be,
Yep.
like, on Ritalin or, I don't know, whatever. So, I mean, I didn't really, so I always had felt like it was a bad thing, and, like, I don't think I actually felt like it was a superpower until, like, much, much older. So, probably when I met you, honestly, and then you would show me, like,
Aww.
hey, you can do this better than anybody else. You can do this, and then
But
you
for
have,
real.
like, these traits. So, yeah, I mean, so growing up, I just didn't think it was a good thing at all. So,
I can relate to that. Huge. I actually didn't understand what was happening. I just knew that somehow I got in
Same.
trouble all the time,
Same.
and I was doing all the wrong things, and certain things I couldn't like grasp
Exactly.
the concepts,
Exactly.
and it was
I
very
don't think
frustrating.
I really understood it either. Like,
Yeah.
understood what ADHD was back then at all. Like, you know, I got prescribed it and I was diagnosed, but
Right. You just kind of like took the pill and went on your merry way, and just were like, okay, sometimes it seems better, and sometimes it still sucks.
But for real though,
You know,
that's so true.
it is.
Man, how do you even describe that? Like, you guys are describing it exactly well for me to be like, yeah.
So
But how
if
do you describe that to someone?
It takes a lot because they don't have the perspective that all three of us have, because we've been through it. When you've been through something, you can't give that to someone. They have to try and relate, but they're never going to really be able to relate because it's not something they've experienced.
Yeah, it's like the best thing to explain is like, you knew something was different. You can feel it, you sense it, you saw yourself, but how do you say that out to the world, especially when you're young, when you recognize it? You know what I mean? You're trying to even articulate yourself, and
For sure.
if you, I feel like I'm barely starting to articulate myself. I feel like I'm barely, because Tracy's helping me out in learning how to articulate myself the best that I can, because for the life of me, my words have never been on point for people. People will perceive a message I say completely different, and I'm like, whoa, that did not come out the way that it was supposed to. How many times has this happened? You know?
My whole life. So, but yes, I've gotten better and better, and sometimes I will actually say, I'm not sure if that came out, because you'll read their body language and you'll be like, okay, that definitely was not what I meant, because they look really sad now or whatever, you know what I mean? And so then you have to, people that you're really invested in, you have to kind of take extra time to explain those kinds of things so they don't think you're, maybe insensitive or cruel, because sometimes I'm very blunt.
Oh, same.
And
are you blunt?
right.
Do you just kind of say it out? Just face value?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that I always have a problem too, because I'll like interrupt because I'm trying to relate with them, right? Like they'll tell me a story and I'll be like, oh, okay, and then but that keeps me engaged in the.
Like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
She's trying to hold it back right now before she does it to you.
No, Zach and I have actually talked about this.
Take offense to it because I know how I actually.
Oh, what's our number one rule, Tracy?
No sorries.
No sorry.
Not in the podcast room.
Not in the podcast room. You know, we can interrupt each other all we want because that's the norm for us.
Yeah, it's a safe space to discuss, to feel all the things. But I just lost my train of thought. But I actually wanted to go back before we get too far away. So when you transitioned from high school to college,
Yes.
I really want to tap into what were some different things that were occurring for you as far as how you showed up, how you were processing information, how you were kind of tweaking things so that you were more effective and efficient. And maybe it's because you were paying for the education. You're like,
Yeah.
I mean, that happens a lot where you're
Yeah.
like, put more pressure on yourself to figure it out. But maybe there were some other things that our listeners could hear that it might be helpful
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah. So yeah. When I was back in high school, I didn't really care as much. But then when I got to college, and actually I got put on academic probation, and I was like, it woke me up, and I was like, oh man, I'm about to like get kicked out type thing. And I don't know, that next semester, just like I had gotten to, I built my own computer at that time, and just really figured out a way to use my computer and be more organized. And that's probably where, right when I started like being so organized and having like my being like a very, like, I can't read like very, like and learn it, like I have to see it, I have to do it. So yeah, I just really just started, and like you said, I was paying for it, so I cared a lot more, and then I wanted to do better, and then I just started, getting to class every day and doing all the things that I needed to do, take crazy notes, and like I was never a good note taker. It didn't make sense to me sometimes, but then I took a note taking class,
Oh.
and then like how I had it, like, because I would always write every single word that they said or something,
Same.
right?
Yeah.
But I needed to not do that. I needed to put it in something that makes sense to me. So I would write down, like, my interpretation of what they were saying in shorter version, and then just bullet the point, and then I would stagger it in sections off, and then that probably helped me out the most.
Then CRM Man was created.
Absolutely. It's a
And
pretty
that's how he was birthed.
incredible app, too. I actually have the privilege of having it, although I don't know how to use the millions of things it can do.
Hey, it's going to be great.
It's gotten crazier. It's gotten crazier too now. So they come out with so many new things, and community. Yeah. You had that DocuSign. You actually have that on my software where you could just use it on there. Have contracts.
All right, well, I need you in my life.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share something on the note-taking. So I met a person. His name happens to be Frank. Frank, if you're listening, thank you for this. He showed me his notes one time from an event, and it's like a sketch pad, actually, and he draws. And I was like, so when I went to Limitless, I actually drew a lot of pictures, because now when I go back, I look at that picture, and I'm like, the whole story's right there. So since you're visual, you might, even
Good to
stick
know.
figures.
Good
Stick
to
figures
know.
work, too. And I use a lot of stick figures. I think of Travis actually. When I say
No,
that.
but this is
drawing the picture. It's like a little story, and then you can go back to the notes, and it all comes back immediately in your mind.
Yeah.
So, just a little tip for listeners and for you.
And that's how our ancestors were writing notes to us.
So true, actually.
But for real, symbols speak a huge. I don't know if you learn in analogies. I learn in analogies. I like
Same.
symbolism.
Same.
And it's just easier for translate. And it just makes me think, people always ask me if I speak another language. I'm like, I speak ADHD. So it's like, I like what you just said, Tracy, because there's different forms on how we can communicate. Sometimes I feel like our words are not our best way to communicate either to others or to people to fully give the depiction of what's happening in here.
Oh yeah.
It's
That's
so
probably
hard.
why we talk with our hands so much too, because we're like trying to explain. It was really big.
But it's so hard to explain to people, to be like, again, my insecurity is being misunderstood, because I've been misunderstood for so long of my life. I suffer from my strength is definitely numbers, but my weakness is words and vocabulary and reading. And
Mine too.
so am trying to challenge myself to read, to get my eyes used to seeing symbols.
So they do have an app where you can actually have it take a picture of the stuff and read it to you. They also have Audible and Blinklist, which are
I
amazing.
use it all the time.
Yes, because
But this is what's stubborn about me. I'm like, no, I'm going to learn how to read. I'm not saying I don't know how to
what you
read.
need to do is take a speed reading class so that you can go quickly, because that's what your brain wants to do.
This is the perfect example of me. I'm hitting the wall. Like, I'm too stubborn. I'm not even taking a break from it. See?
But that's very much part of my ADHD as well, as I don't like to be told you can't do that.
That's it. Yeah. Do you experience that, Zach?
Not happy at all. Like
when someone tells you can't do it, are you like, oh, I'm gonna now freaking do it better?
Oh, I do it. Yeah, then I do it. Yeah, 100%. Like people say all the time, like in tech, they'll be like, oh, that's probably not possible or something. And I'm like,
you're like, challenge accepted.
Figure it out. Exactly. I love being challenged.
I love that. I love that about Zach.
Well, I think that's part of all of ours, and you guys can correct me if this doesn't suit you, but because of the way we were raised and in the elements that we had to deal with as far as like adversity and just trying to exist in that space, you have this resilience that you create, because it's like you get knocked down a lot. So you have to either just lay there and take the crap, or get up and figure out a different way and just keep trying. And sometimes it's really hard, but that's the key to your success in anything. Relationships, business, school, anything that you want to do and achieve in this world.
Your finances.
Big time.
We're going to have to do one of these podcasts about ADHD and finance. In fact, I met a person and she reached out to me and she's like, I need help. And we connected through the commonness of ADHD. And then I told her, I was like, look, don't be afraid. You know how many times I've messed up in my finances because of my ADHD? Like, I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Impulse buying, clearance shopping, those dopamine hits that you gotta have.
No, but there's times where, I don't know if you guys have experienced this in your finances in the past, but there's times where I will go through, okay, what?
Switch the mic.
No.
The mic just was weird.
What?
Oh.
No?
I don't know. Okay, it's fine. I can hear you guys.
Can you hear that? No.
Can you hear that? I can.
No, probably not. Anyway, I just did that.
It's clapping. Can you hear the clapping? No? Yeah, maybe just change a little bit. So, yeah, no, I totally forgot. It's all good.
You were talking, what was she talking about?
No, it's all good. See, hey, no sorry, man. This is a sorry-free zone. That's the story of us. We put all HD people together. We're going to have like 5 stories all at once.
You were talking about your learning.
And somehow we'll complete 1 story out of those 5.
And it doesn't really matter, right? We're just sharing.
We'll go back to it if we're trying
to
remember it.
Give tidbits of information for others, share between each other. And this is like...
And actually real life live our ADHD moments like right now.
Yeah.
I think all of us had one. We're like, wait, what was it? I don't know.
Whatever.
Hey, no. But Zach, I'm curious. What was some of the dialogue that you had growing up around ADHD? Because
like inner or outer?
Either way.
Like to himself or from other people?
Let's talk about both. Like, because you're young, you're understanding it. You even said some terminology of...
He's not that young. He looks like a young one.
What I should say young, meaning when you were younger, when you found out and you're understanding about yourself, and now you're developing this dialogue, like without even knowing, when your younger self is discovering that, especially when you find out about yourself with ADHD and you're seeing yourself at a young age, like, okay, I'm not the same. Somehow I'm not the same. There's dialogue that you start to create for yourself. I am currently decoding a lot of that dialogue right now as we speak. And it's been embedded there for like decades. So I'm curious, do you have any dialogue that you're breaking away? And if so, what's that dialogue that you're breaking away from yourself?
Yeah, like I said, growing up, like I just felt like everybody thought of it as a bad thing. Like it was always like there was something wrong with me, right? So that's kind of what I told myself, like growing up too, was like, there's something wrong with me. I don't fit in with the crowds. I don't learn like any. So kind of like myself, like people were saying like you can't do college, any college, and then I got because I barely passed high school pretty much. Probably I did it for sports for the most part.
Same.
But then then I got to college and I graduated 3.2, and I was like yeah, that's so. And I got 2 degrees. I was like, yeah, I wouldn't get it twice. So,
That's amazing. I really applaud you for that.
But yeah. And then I now I really do feel like it is a superpower, and I'm starting to really embrace it. And I am different. I like that. So
I love that, Zach. That's amazing. And that's the biggest thing. We want to shift that inner dialogue of there's something wrong with me there's something right with me. There's something amazing about me. There's lots of amazing things about me.
100%.
And when you start to do that, you don't need to really spend so much time in that negativity. But it takes a literal, a lot of support from others. Makes it helpful.
Well, this is the thing is if we look at it in a logical sense, here you have this vessel, and here you have the outside world telling everything about it, what it should be. And so now you're taking those words and you're creating it into your own world. Now it takes someone from the outside that sees it differently to now shoot new words into you. And you're going to challenge it. You're going to be like, no, maybe not. No, I am actually here, but it needs constant challenging from our part into this new community. Because this is what I'm thinking of. I'm like really imagining, what is this new wave? Or is the wave of ADHD people going to be gone? Are we going to be the last people to actually solve it and do really well in this generation? Or is it going to take more generations for it to then evolve into something? Because we're changing the dialogue. I feel like a lot of us that have come up from this understanding of how our mind works, we've all had to break away from a certain type of dialogue that's been given to us, and embrace a new version of what we truly want our world to be. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it sounds so simple, but that's a full-fledged transition in itself. And you're really going to need a community with you and people who are going to support you in so many ways.
So I think the biggest thing, it's one simple concept that has helped me, and it's that I don't have to believe what anyone says about me. I can believe it, even if it's something ugly and nasty. I can believe it, or I cannot.
But how do you tell a listener?
So the self-awareness is the first thing, and then say someone says something to me like, "You're not very smart,"